Welcome, Middlers, to the Medium in the Middle podcast. My name is Stephanie, and I take you on a journey of self-discovery and spiritual exploration. I am a Reiki master teacher, a spiritual and business mentor, and of course, a psychic medium. And I am here to share my story and help you tap into your extraordinary abilities. Join me every Wednesday as we dive into the realms of intuition, energy healing, and all things mystical. Whether you're a seasoned spiritual seeker or just dipping your toes into the magical waters, this podcast is your go-to source for inspiration, guidance, and a whole lot of lessons and laughter along the way. Let's get started. Hello, Middlers. Welcome to the Medium in the Middle podcast. My name is Stephanie. I am the Medium in the Middle. And welcome to episode 286. I apologize that there was no new episode last week. I had family visiting and I had every intention of recording, editing, and releasing an episode. But family time took priority, so I unexpectedly had a week of no podcast, but we are back. And I will be back with a new episode all the way up until December 17th. And then the podcast will take a break over Christmas and New Year's and be back in 2026. But today on the podcast, I'm going to tell a mediumship story. So before we jump into today's story, just have a little bit to yap about. I'm sorry about this microphone. I'm not sure how it sounds in your ears, but my old microphone broke. I bought a new microphone. I can't figure out this new microphone, so I'm giving up, and I'm going to just buy a new microphone again. I've spent hours and hours and hours messing with this microphone, and I don't like the sound, so I apologize. This will hopefully be the last week with this microphone, and then I will be back better than ever. I've been using the same microphone for 6 years, and then it finally crapped out on me, so it did a great job for a long time, and then I bought a new microphone I was super excited about, but I just cannot figure out the levels. So it's been hours and hours and hours, and I'm ready to give up. I cannot believe we are at the end of November already, and now we are going until the end of the year. The last mediumship practice circle happened last week. That was really great. Congratulations to everybody who showed up for that. There was a lot of new people. The circle will be back in January, and I will have those dates up on my website very soon so that if you would like to join in the new year, there will be monthly mediumship practice circles coming back again. This weekend, November 22nd and 23rd, I'm teaching Reiki Level 2. I need one more person to join the course. I have an odd number of students right now, and I need an even number for distance Reiki practice. So if you are feeling the call for level 2, if you are free this weekend, take that last spot. I would love an even number. And you have one more chance to learn Reiki level 1 in 2025. December 6th and 7th will be my last level 1 training of the year. And then the last level 2 of the year is happening on December 13th and 14th. So you still have 2 more opportunities for level 2. And then again, those will all be back in the new year in January. My mentorship program will be opening next week to the wait list, and then if there's any spots left, I will be opening it to the public. And stay tuned, Medium in the Middle will have a Black Friday sale. It is my biggest sale of the year. It might be the biggest sale I've ever done. So keep an eye on my socials for Black Friday at Medium in the Middle on Instagram or my website, themediuminthemiddle.com. And the last announcement I have for you is that I have released card readings. So in-person readings are up on my website if you want to book a reading in Banff, Alberta. And I have also now sent the link to all my clients for virtual group readings. I'm going to open them first just to my current client list because availability is very small. And then seeing how that goes, I might add it to my website in the new year. But if you are one of my clients, check your email. The latest email from me will have that link. So today's mediumship story is just a little inspiration one, I guess. And I like this story because it just shows the power of something small. So this happened a few weeks ago. I was out for the day and it was a Sunday and I was off. So we were doing happy hour and I had some drinks out with my friends, and then we had dinner at a friend's house, and we were planning to all go out after dinner. And we were planning to all go out after dinner because it was another friend's birthday. So we were going to go out for his birthday. So because we had had happy hour all day and then dinner, and I had my dog with me at a friend's house, I was like, okay, I'm going to go home, bring my dog home, freshen up, and then I'll meet you guys at the bar, and I'll meet you for our friend's birthday. Let's call him Tim. So it was Tim's birthday. So I had every intention of just bringing my dog home, freshening up, and heading right back out to meet up with everybody for Tim's birthday. And then I made a grave mistake. I sat down on the couch. And then I laid down on the couch. And then before you know it, me and Archie were having a little nap on the couch. Now at this point, it was only about 8:30 p.m., so I was thinking to myself, you know what? I can literally lay down for an hour and still go out and meet everybody for Tim's birthday. So I laid down for an hour, and then it was 9:30, and then I fell asleep for an hour, and then it was 10:30 p.m., and I just kept thinking, oh, I need to go out for Tim's birthday. Like, I want to be the type of person that shows up for people. And he came to my birthday, and I told him I was going to come. I saw him the day before, I think. And I was like, yeah, see you at your birthday tomorrow. And we had been texting on his actual birthday about where he was going to eat for his birthday. So I was just thinking in my head, I can't bail on him. Like, I've been talking about his birthday for the last 3 days. So it was 10:30 and I was like, oh, I just really can't be bothered to get up. Like, I'm home, I'm on the couch, I'm warm. Do I really want to go back out? I was drinking during the day, and now, I'm at the tired stage. So then it was 11, and then it was 11:30, and I'm texting everybody, and they're like, yeah, come out, we're here. And I was like, right, I'm coming. And because I had now been sleeping on the couch for a few hours, I was like, well, now I have to fix my makeup, and I have to fix my hair. So it's 11:30, it's 12, and I'm just thinking, like, do I stay home? Do I go out? Do I stay home? Do I go out? And there was such a strong pull to go out. And I was thinking to myself, why do I want to go out so bad? Like, I really could just go home and go to bed. And at this point, it's midnight, so Tim won't even remember if I come to his birthday or not. I could say I was there and no one's going to know. And I can just go to bed. But there was just something being like, get up and go to the bar. Get up and go to the bar. Get up and go to the bar. I was like, it is midnight. I've been sitting on my couch now since 8:30. Why do I have such a strong pull to go to the bar? And I was just sitting on the couch fighting with myself because I had this feeling that I needed to get up and go. And then I also was like, why when I could just go upstairs, have a shower, and go to bed? And then something was like, no, get up and go. And then my body was like, why when I could go upstairs, have a shower, and go to bed and not leave my house? I have now been home for, 3.5 hours. It's just time for bed. And I was going back and forth like this for literally hours. And eventually I realized, oh, if I have a very strong feeling to go out, there's probably a reason. Cough, cough, intuition. Cough, cough, listen when these nudges happen. Cough, cough, I should know better. And I was like, oh yeah, like I literally have been trying to not go out for 3.5 hours sitting on this couch. But there's such a big pull to go. I should just listen and go. But then my brain got into it, and I was like, well, why would I need to go to the bar? I'm always out. I always see my friends. Like, I could just tell Tim happy birthday tomorrow. And I was like going through all the logical things. And then my brain was thinking, like, why would my intuition be telling me to go out? Why would I have to go out tonight? Like, what's going to happen tonight? And then I was thinking, oh, what if I'm going to meet my husband tonight? What if I'm going to meet someone tonight? What if there's something happening that I have to be out tonight? And then my brain was like, no, nothing's happening tonight. It's a normal night. Everyone goes out every night. And then, just going back and forth between my thinking brain and my intuition. And my thinking brain just kept saying, stay home. And my intuition just kept saying, get up off the couch and go out. So quite literally, after hours and hours and hours, I was like, fine, I'll listen to my intuition. And I got up and I fixed my makeup and I went to the bar. So just to recap you how this day went, I went out for happy hour at 3 p.m. I was out for happy hour till, say, 6 p.m. Then I went to a friend's house for dinner until 8:30 p.m. And then I sat on the couch from 8:30 p.m. until 12 midnight. Until I finally convinced myself to get up, fix my hair, fix my makeup at 12 midnight. And then by 12:30, I made it out to the bar. So Banff is very small. I can get to the bar in less than 6 minutes walk. So it's very easy for me to walk there and walk home whenever I want. And it's a small town, so we all go to the same bars, and I know the schedule of where everyone is at what time. And by this time, it's 12:30, so no one's answering their phone anymore to be like, hey guys, I'm coming, where are you? I was just like, I know where they are, I'm just going to go to that bar. So I went to the usual bar, and I walked in, and I said, hey, like, I'm here for Tim's birthday, is everyone still here? And the bouncer was like, oh, I'm not sure, like, if they left yet, like, go have a look. So I walk around the bar, and I don't see them. And I just think to myself, if my intuition made me come to the bar and they're not even here anymore, I'm gonna scream. And then again, my brain goes, well, no, like if your intuition told you to come out, like you have to go find them now. So we have the regular, circuit of bars that we do on a Sunday night. So I was like, okay, if they're not here, I know where we go next after this bar. So then I left and I was like, okay, I'm going to go to the next bar and find them. So I go to the next bar and I'm walking around looking for them, and then I see them. And I was like, hey, Tim, happy birthday, blah, blah, blah. He's happy to see me. And he is from Australia, and his mom and his sister were visiting. So again, we had been texting for a few days, and he was telling me that his mom and his sister were coming and where they were going for dinner and what they were doing and like saying their plans and stuff. So I met his mom and I met his sister, and we're on the dance floor and we're dancing. And then, 5 minutes later, it's time to go to the next bar. We have a rotation that we do. They're like, okay, we're going to this next bar. So I was thinking to myself, okay, I came out, I saw them, I'll just go home now because, they've been drinking all day. I've had a nap for the last 3 hours. I could easily sneak out. I said I came to say hello. I met his mom, I met his sister, like it's time to go. So we all walk out of the bar together, and then we're all walking to the next bar together, and my plan was to just keep walking home from that bar. So we're all going, and then somehow we were like a big group, and I just got like scooped into walking into the next bar. Like I was trying to leave, but like the 3 people around me all went down the stairs, and then I was somehow going down the stairs. And then once I was walking down the stairs, I was like, oh, okay, like I guess I'm going into this bar too. So then we get into the bar, and it's karaoke night. So it's loud. So we're sitting at the bar, and I'm talking to his mom and his sister, and we're just chatting away. And I'm sitting there just thinking, why did I have to come to the bar tonight? Why did my intuition want me to come out tonight so bad? And I remember a few weeks prior was my birthday, and Tim came to my birthday. And I remember looking at him like 2 or 3 times, and he was telling us about how his mom and sister were coming to visit, and his dad is also passed. So he had recently made a post for his dad. I think it was his birthday, and it was like, Dad, first birthday without you. So I was thinking, oh, I should tell him that when his mom and sister are here, like if they want to do a reading, like obviously I'll do a reading for my friend, and I should tell him that. So this was on my birthday. So I saw him and I was like, oh, he was talking about his mom and his sister. I was like, I should tell him. And then it came up again where I was like, oh, I should tell him, like if they want to have a reading when they're here. And then it came up again, like I was thinking in my head, oh, I should tell him if him and his mom and his sister want to have a reading when they're here, like I should tell him that I'll do a reading for him. Because obviously he knows I'm a medium. He's my friend. He knows what's up. And I was like, oh, it'd be nice when his family was here. If they wanted to do a group reading, I would do it for them. But I never told him. So while we're sitting there at karaoke, I'm looking at his mom and his sister thinking, oh, I never told Tim to ask his mom and sister if they wanted a reading. And now I can't bring it up because we're at a bar and it's midnight, 1 a.m., and we're at a karaoke bar. I'm not going to now ask them if they want a reading, and it's Tim's birthday. And, it's just like wrong place, wrong time. Do not bring it up, Steph. Like, this is not the time. So I thought to myself, you know what? I'm not going to bring it up. So we're listening to the karaoke, and I'm talking to his mom, and I'm talking to his mom, just talking, have you been to Canada before? What do you think? How's your trip been? All the basics. And then she's looking at her phone, and they're all kind of like looking sad at their phone, and she's looking at these pictures, and I said like, oh, like what's going on? And so it was past midnight now, and she said, oh, today is the 1-year anniversary of my husband passing. because they're from Australia, they're in the future. So in the future, it was already the 1 year, and all of her family members were at her husband's grave. So they were sending her photos from her husband's grave of them all there together, and they were having a drink, and they were taking pictures, and they were sending it to them in Canada. So she was showing me these photos, and she was showing me photo after photo, and she was zooming into each person in the photo and telling me who they were. Like, oh, this is my sister, this is my brother, this is this person, this is their kid, this is their son, this is their daughter, this is this person's name is this person's name is this. Going through photo after photo after photo, showing me all of these pictures and telling me stories and about how it's been a year since her husband's passed, and going on and on and on. And I was like, this is the, tell her, Steph, tell her. And I was like, no, I'm not going to tell her. We're at a karaoke bar. And then she kept going on, showing me these pictures. She kept going on, talking about it. And you could tell, like, she was showing me the family group chat, and she was showing me the messages, and she was showing me the photos. And after a while, I was just sitting there thinking, like, okay, this is spirit being like, tell her, tell her, tell her. So I said, did Tim tell you that I'm a medium? And she was like, what? No, he didn't. You're a medium? Oh my gosh, I love that stuff. I believe in it so much. And I was like, yeah, like, I didn't want to say anything, but if you guys want a reading when you're here, like, I'll happily do one for you guys. And especially, like, it's his 1 year, and you're showing me these pictures, I think maybe it was a sign. And she was like, oh, I can't do a reading. And I was like, oh, why? She said, oh, my husband was really not into this, and he made me promise him that I would never do a reading. But my daughter would really like a reading. She didn't promise him that she would never do a reading. Only I promised him, so she would love a reading. And I was like, oh, okay, like, whatever you guys want. She's like, but I love this stuff. I love it. I think it's real. But he found God again right before he died, and he just made me promise that I'd never do a reading. And I said, oh, okay. And then she's like, but my daughter would love this. My daughter would love this. So then she calls her daughter over, and she's like, come here. Steph's a medium. Did you know Steph's a medium? And she was like, what? She's like, what? You're a medium? She's like, I love mediums. I go to see mediums all the time, yada, yada. And she was like, oh, that's why my brother was telling us about you. He was like, Steph this, Steph that, Steph. And I was like, oh, maybe, like, I guess so. He was probably like trying to tell them without telling them. So she was like, yeah, my mom said that she wouldn't do a reading, but I'd love a reading, and we should do one, and I would be so interested. And I said, okay, we could set something up while you guys are still here, because they were still here for 5 days. And I said, obviously we're at a karaoke bar, like, we don't have to talk about it right now. And it was an emotional day because it was Tim's birthday, and then the next day was the 1 year anniversary of his dad passing. So I said, like, you're here all week, we'll figure something out. So then we started kind of talking about signs, and have you, like, had any readings with your dad, and what's happened so far, and how does he contact you? Do you have dreams? And just, to me, the basics, but probably to other people, just nice to talk about their loved ones. And we had, like, a small conversation at the bar, and it was really nice. And then there was karaoke, so we got off track. And then his mom was, like, still looking at her phone, looking at the photos, looking at the group chat, and she was crying. And I said, oh, I'm so sorry, like, I shouldn't have brought anything up, like, I shouldn't have said anything. I didn't mean to make you cry or make you upset. And she was like, oh, no, it's just these photos, and, everyone's there together, and it's been 1 year, and, it's sad. And I was like, oh, of course. So I stayed for a little bit more karaoke. Tim and his sister did a karaoke song. A few of our friends did a karaoke song. I said hi to a bunch of people, and then I was like, okay, I feel like now I can sneak out, and I did what I had to do. So I finally sneak out of the bar, and I start to walk home. And on my walk home, I'm thinking, well, I didn't meet my husband, so why did I have to go to the bar? And I was staring up at the sky, and it was a beautiful night, and the stars were shining, and there wasn't a cloud in the sky, so the sky was really bright. And I was walking home with my head cranked up, staring at the stars, being like, wow, like, what a beautiful night. And I was thinking, like, why did I have to go to the bar, Spirit? Like, why did you make me get up off the couch for that? Like, what happened tonight? What was relevant? Why? And then I was like, oh, duh, Steph. It was for you to talk to his mom and his sister. It was for you to just plant that seed of, hey, if you guys want a reading. And there was no accident that I went out at 12:30, and at midnight on that day was the day that it was his dad's 1 year. And that's when the photos started coming and the group chat started going off. And that it was when it was officially not Tim's birthday anymore, and it was the 1-year anniversary of his passing. And even if it was just for the conversation of, hey, does your dad send you signs? Hey, have you ever thought about doing a reading? Hey, tell me about him. Even if it was just for that conversation, that's why you had to go out. So between me walking home from the bar, staring at the stars, and by the time I got home, 4 minutes later, I was like, oh, that's why. And who knows if I'll do a reading for them this week or what will happen, but I just knew I had to go out to plant that seed, to have that conversation, and then I could go home. So I actually came home and I recorded a video because I was like, I think this is why I had to go out, but I'm not sure. Like, will I do a reading for them this week? And this was Sunday and they were staying until Thursday. So there was a lot of time that we could still do a reading. And I didn't end up seeing them again while they were here. So I didn't do a reading for them. I didn't talk to Tim about it. I actually haven't even seen him since. So I never even got to tell him this story. But I wanted to share this on the podcast because of multiple reasons. Number one, a perfect example of like your thinking brain versus intuition. Why do I have to go out? Go out. Why do I have to go out? Go out. Why do I have to go out? Just go out. It's 4 minutes from your home. And then trying to figure out why I was going out. I thought it was for me. I thought it was so I could meet someone. I thought it was because I had to do something. I don't know. And then for it just to be maybe that conversation about spirit on the 1-year anniversary of his dad's passing, like for it to naturally come up, because I wasn't going to bring it up until she started showing me those photos, and still she started showing me the group chat and all the messages, until she zoomed in on every single person and told me who they were and told me a story about them. Like, I was like, oh, you're handing me a silver platter to tell her that I'm a medium, and again, just put it in her ear. And who knows if that conversation maybe sparked an interest in her to eventually get a reading or to think about a reading. I don't know. But I think that was the purpose. I know that was the purpose. And however small or big the significance was, I just knew I had to walk to the bar, hang out with him for an hour, and then come back home. So I had to meet his mom and his sister for some reason. And sometimes it's as simple as that. So I have a lot of stories coming down the podcast pipeline of small intuitive hits like this that might not seem super relevant. You guys have heard me say before, they're not 10 out of 10s. They're not ball out of the park. They're not, wow, oh my God, stories. They're just little. They're just a little, but they're still significant. They're still important. And if you miss the little things, you're missing 80% of things. If you're just waiting for, hitting the ball at a park, if you're just waiting for the big 10 out of 10 experiences, if you're just waiting for the, wow, that was incredible, oh my God, stories, those don't happen as often as these little tiny nudges. And if you listen to the little things, you get 80% more. I repeat, if you listen to the little things, you will receive 80% more. My entire life is working with people to see more signs, to get more information, to see more signs. If you're waiting for 10 out of 10s, you're only working with 20%. When you look for everything, even the small stuff, that's when you get 80% more. And this is a perfect example of the small stuff. And I do still think this was pretty significant experience, but it would still, on the scale of stories I've told on this podcast, yeah, it's not the craziest story, but still very important and relevant and special. So if you're looking for more, start looking at the small stuff and you'll see 80% more. If you're waiting for more 10 out of 10s, you're going to be waiting for that 20%. So I just found the video on my phone of this and I thought, you know what? I have to record the podcast and this is what I'm recording it on. So that's what I have for you this week, Middlers. I hope you enjoyed that little mediumship story, that little intuitive nudge to listen, even when you don't know why, who, what, when, where, why, how, just listen. My brain tried to really keep me on that couch for 3.5 hours, but I got up and I went. If you want to book an appointment with me virtually or in person in Banff, Alberta, my website and all my links are down below in the show notes, themediuminthemiddle.com. If you want to book a Reiki training, those links are also all linked down below. My Black Friday sale will be up on my website next week, as well as a mentorship will be opening. So keep an eye on Instagram at Medium in the Middle. I don't even know if it will open to the public, to be honest. The waitlist right now will fill the program if everyone signs up. But if there are any spots left, keep your eyes peeled. But I will be back next Wednesday, hopefully with a new microphone, and I will be on time and I will have an episode. But until next Wednesday, Middlers, when I see you in your ears, I hope you have a wonderful week. Bye.